Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And I've got a fantastic guest for you today, John Verrico. And he is a speaker, but most importantly, he's a communicator. He does it through humor, teaching. He talks about motivational leadership, inner communication, resiliency. So it's going to be all around fascinating conversation about influence, communication. And I'm happy to welcome John to the show. Welcome, John.
Hey, thank you, Doc. I appreciate your having me on board. It's great to be here. Bingo. So I'm on board.
Yeah, kind of talk about your journey and what led you to be doing what you're doing now.
Oh, it was a long and weird and twisted journey, as I think most people, people don't wake up in the morning and go, "Gee, I want to be, a salesperson, or later in life, or I want to be a motivational speaker later in life." I certainly did not even think of any such a career as where I wanted to be. And I certainly didn't know I was going to be training people in leadership. But what had happened, I actually started out as kind of a small, undersized kid in school. And so I was picked on by bullies a lot. I was only 5'3", weighed 110 pounds when I graduated high school. So I was the little guy. And so I just said, people shouldn't be made to feel this way. Everybody in life, all we really want out of life is to feel like we matter. All of the things that we may do, or the things that we enjoy doing, the stuff that we accumulate, all makes us feel like we matter. And so that's what I think really everybody wants, and they want to feel like that they can make a difference in the world. And so I've been working hard over the entire career, subtly trying to make a difference where I can. And then in the last 25 years, been focusing more on being a little bit more direct in providing some motivational leadership training, communication training, that kind of thing. So people can just learn to get along better.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I share the same story of being an outsider, like never fitting in. So one thing is talking about is because I love how you use humor. And why do you and when why is it humor? Some people use like data, some people use stories. What is it about humor that makes you connect well with your audiences?
If you think about it, as we go through different parts of our life and different adventures and episodes in our life, what are the things we remember most? We remember the most the things that made us laugh. And if you even go to a funeral, it's a tragic event. It's the end of life. It's a sad event. Everybody is sad. But what do? We sit around and we tell stories, and we tell stories that made us laugh. Remember when Dad did this? Remember when Grandma did that? Remember when Aunt Tessie did that kind of stuff? And so those funny stories that help us to heal, help us to grow, and also help us to learn. We learn better when we become much more receptive when we're laughing. And so, yes, I use humor, mostly self-deprecating humor. I talk about the fact that I'm not the skinny little kid I was in school. I've become a double X Adonis in my later life, but I'm not out of shape because round is a shape.
Like I said, like humor connects everybody, laughter, these positive emotions, they're contagious. Which brings me to my next question is you talk about torch and talk about what it is and what do you mean by torchbearer?
There's a couple there's a little bit of background there. So first of all, being the little kid picked on by bullies, my inspiration was in watching old classic monster movies. And it was because in those movies, no matter how big and bad and nasty the monster was, the little guy could still win. And typically in those old movies, they were carrying torches. Now, what the torch is it doesn't necessarily represent fire, but it can. But really, it represents light. Because if you think about it, all the things in life that we fear are the things that we don't understand, or the things that we can't see, right? We fear the darkness. We fear what we don't know. And so if we can shed light on it, we no longer fear it. If we can see it, we can understand it, we no longer fear it. And so that's the whole concept behind, the bringing the light and bringing the torchbearer, right? I'd like to try to illuminate the challenges that you have so you no longer fear them and you can move past them. The key, the behind that also is a subtle little acronym. And it stands for all of those things that are so important for our ability to be able to stay motivated ourselves and to be able to fight off those monsters in our life. Those things are trust, opportunity, respect, communication, and humanity, right? We have to learn to trust each other. You can't move forward on anything if you don't have trust. If you don't give each other opportunity, or you don't have opportunity to take risks, to try things, to learn, to grow, you won't move anywhere. The same thing with respect. You need to have that interpersonal respect for each other, where they are in life, what they've done, what they've accomplished, what they've gone through, even if it's bad stuff. Communication is critical, as we've been talking about. Being able to communicate with each other and is critically important. And then finally, the thing that most of us forget is that we're all humans, and we need to treat each other with humanity and understanding that everyone goes through who knows what they're going through at any given time. And so just treat each other better as fellow humans, understand that they're humans and they need compassion.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I really love this idea of you never know what people are going through. And I'm shocked and surprised, a lot of people that seem to have it all, have it all together is just very, broken inside. And, like I said, the appearances can be very deceiving. Next question I have is you've worked in various roles in the entertainment industry, and what unique insights did you gain there that helped you to enrich your approach to communication, public speaking, connecting with others through communication?
So I've had a pretty broad career, and I started out, not knowing where I wanted to be in life. I actually started out doing electronics. I was the dude with the soldering iron many years ago, and I realized that I enjoyed the work and was good at it, but I enjoyed interacting with people more than I enjoyed interacting with the circuit boards. And that was kind of like from evolving out of that forced shyness I had as a younger kid, where I was picked on when I brought attention to myself. And now I kind of liked the interaction. I wanted to have interaction with people. And so, doing electronics wasn't doing it. So I tried everything. I did a short order cook thing. I was a journalist. I started doing disco dance back in the 70s, and then started teaching disco dancing. And I found that I enjoyed helping other people to be successful and to learn new moves and to try new things. And that has always been kind of the subtle background of the rest of my career. Ultimately, I went into the public affairs field, which was kind of like public relations, but it incorporates a little bit more of less marketing and more about understanding people and human interaction. And I spent 42 years in that career field and learned from all of those things, just better ways to interact with people. And I learned a lot from theater too. I did do some theater, but I also worked with some entertainers and learned so much about them. And a lot of people think of entertainers as being egotistical. There's that stereotype that we have. When you realize and you get to know folks, you realize that really they enjoy doing what they do because they're bringing joy to other people. So sometimes it goes to their head. There are some people that it goes to their head and they get a little too big for themselves, but really it starts out with being that rewarding element of bringing joy to other people. My mom was like that. My mom was a rockette back in the 50s. My grandfather was a vaudevillian, and my mother, when she was a little child, actually would dance with my grandfather on the stage in vaudeville. So I guess I got a little bit of my performance chops from there. But throughout Mom's life, everything that she did was trying to put a smile on people's faces. So she was performing, still singing and dancing at 85. And I look back on her life, and I realized that all she wanted to do, looking at the mindset of the entertainer, was to make people happy and alleviate their troubles, even for just that moment while they were being entertained by song and dance and stuff like that. So I realize also that our legacy is not our stuff. Our legacy is what we'll be remembered for. And what we'll be remembered for is how we treated people and how we made people feel. And so when you look at things that way, that is kind of the life lesson that has evolved throughout my whole life. And I've come to that point. I'm 65 now. And I realize that my whole life, all I have been trying to do is make a difference for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that when I'm gone, people will remember me as somebody who made them laugh, somebody who inspired them, somebody who made them feel good, somebody who made them feel like they mattered. And if that's the only accomplishment I have in the universe, then my purpose is fulfilled.
Yeah, it's so so inspiring. And then you talk about movies and motivation, and one interesting thing is you've find classic inspiration in just monster movies. And I used to gain inspiration from like Spider-Man and Batman. Share how these films influence your approach to overcoming challenges and how you use these lessons in your motivational speaking.
I also was fascinated with Spider-Man, and being the little kid picked on by bullies. I wanted a superpower. I was like, man, these dudes would not be able to pick on me if I had superpowers. But, in reality, I knew that I was not going to get bitten by a radioactive spider, and I wasn't going to get hit with gamma rays and all that good stuff. And if I did, it probably would cause a big, cancerous goiter instead of, giving me muscles and strength or ability to fly or whatever. And so reality set in. But in the monster movies, even though the monsters were, kind of super fantastic in their own way, they represented a lot of reality. They represented the things that we fear. If you look at all of the classic monsters, they can be compared to, I hate to say it, people in our own lives now, right? You got the vampires that suck the life out of you just by walking into the room. You've got the Jekyll and Hyde types that you don't know who you're dealing with at any given time, because they're going to change personalities on you, or all of a sudden they're going to stab you in the back because of, whatever. And so I realized that in these movies, like I said, no matter how big and bad the monster was, the little guy still can win. There was still a chance. And the things that helped them win was, first of all, not allowing themselves to be overwhelmed or overcome with fear. And then to be able to move forward, be a little bit innovative, work with others and create teams. There were so many inspirational messages in watching these movies, and how the little guy winds up overcoming the threat of the biggest, baddest monsters. So I knew there was hope for me.
And I love that. And I love this like idea of this underdog and the superpower. And your career transitioned from the Navy to become a leadership coach and speaker. And what aspects of your naval experience have been most influential in shaping your methods and messages in leadership and resilience training?
Whether it was Navy or any other position, and we all go through this in our life, right? No matter what position we're in, we look at the behavior of the people around us. And when we're junior in our careers, or whether we're in school or whatever, when you've got teachers, mentors, bosses, whoever they are, you watch their behavior and you know what behaviors made you feel motivated and those that demotivated you. You know what made you feel like you were important and made you want to try harder, work harder, do more, and the behaviors that made you say, chuck it all, I'm not going to do it. And so I had some really fantastic leaders when I was in the Navy and throughout my civilian career, as well as some really god-awful ones. Mean, terrible people that just were out for their own thing and wanted to belittle those around them or felt threatened. And I realized that those people that would constantly put others down is because they were threatened by those people. They made those, they were worried that if this person shines, then I'm going to look worse. And there's an old saying that says, you don't have to blow out my candle to make yours burn brighter.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned from these really good bosses who encouraged me and had me, were willing to take risks on me, were willing to encourage me to try harder and to do better. But they did it in a way that made me feel like I was important. I had one boss who said, look, you're the expert in this. That's why we hired you. Why should I micromanage you? I hired you to do this. You know this job. So just do what you feel needs to be done. Let me know if you have a problem. I will help remove the barriers so you can be successful. Best boss in the world.
Yeah.
And so those are the lessons that I learned throughout my entire career. Now, in the Navy, also, there was a unique advantage. Not all the services do this. In the Navy in particular, at each promotion level, you went to leadership training. And most often you got transferred to a new command. And the reason behind that is that when you walked in the door, you're looked at that supervisory level that you are now, not as one of the guys who just got a raise. So that helps you to establish yourself as a leader at each incremental step in your career. So you go and you get some training in leadership at this new level, the expectations, and then you go and you walk into a whole new organization where there's no preconceived notions about you other than what your rank is. And there's none of the good old boy network or the buddy buddy network. It's hard, when you've been working side by side with people and all of a sudden you're their supervisor. Yeah, half the people don't want to listen to you. The other half are jealous. And it's really an interesting dynamic. But in the Navy, they allow you to grow by moving you on to a new command so that you get to be yourself at that new level. And that was very helpful to me in my personal and professional growth.
Yeah, I love that. And how can people contact you, check out your social media, follow you, and see what you're all about?
Well, thank you. My website is pretty basic. It's www.johnverrico.com. You can also get copies of all my books there as well. I'm a 5-time international best-selling author and have not published my own book yet. So I've been a contributing author in multiple books. So I do want you to know that. I want to be perfectly honest about that. Mine is coming and should be expected soon. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and the platform formerly known as Twitter. I refuse to call it X. But you can find me on Facebook, John Verrico Speaks. I'm John Verrico on LinkedIn and Instagram, and Jay Verrico on X.
Yeah,
I did.
And for all the audience out there, let's thank John for coming on and really engaging fireside. Be sure to like and follow all of his socials as well as check out his works, his books as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, every month I put out a challenge calendar. And so it basically offers people, like February was the month of leading from the heart. This month is March when we're recording this. So in March, it's the month of rejuvenation. So check out these calendars. They're all free. They're on my website. They're also posted on my social media. And every day or every other day, if we don't get a chance to, we post a little bit of an elaboration on that day's thought. And so hopefully there's some little nugget in there that can help you face your day or come up with a new idea for that day.
I love that. And I'm gonna sign up for that as well. And yeah, I'm like you. I'm a Twitter and Facebook fan. I don't like the new names either. So.
I know.
Yeah, and thanks so much for coming on.
From a guy who teaches dealing with change, I refuse to change Twitter to X. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I really am thrilled that you reached out to me. I'm very honored. Thank you. Hopefully I was some help for some folks.